welcome to another episode here on the Minecraft Let's Play. To start with, I have to apologize. It has been a while since we last saw an episode from me, and it has been a combination of me being sick and a little bit of an hectic life. So mostly me being sick and having a nasty cough and a cold, and I couldn't record anything. I sounded like, I don't know, sandpaper or something in my throat, so I couldn't speak at all, and every time I tried to speak I was just coughing and coughing. So now I'm back, and I hope that we can get a lot of episodes out now, because I have done a lot of things during this time. In this episode, we are going to actually address a lot of the things that I have put inside my world since we last saw each other. I decided to go with that, maybe showing you in this episode what I have done rather than showing the before and after that I usually do. So, to begin with, we are going to go to the first place, and we need to go into the Nether to go to a place that are pretty familiar if you have watched episodes from before. Here we are in a rainy overworld with our transformed ocean monument in front of us. But it has only not transformed on the outside this time. Like I said, I was pretty busy, and I have built something in here as well. And it's a lot of redstone, a lot of complicated things, but it's just only a bone meal farm, if you can believe it. It's of course not my own design. This design is made by Ilmango and I think the Cycraft guys, so I'm going to link his video in the description if you want to build this yourself. You are maybe familiar with its design, since it looks very similar to something I built before. Last season I built a lighthouse, and inside the base of that lighthouse I made a similar of these moss farms, or the bone meal farms. But its design has been tweaked a little bit and made it more streamlined, a little bit smaller, and as you probably can see, it has just fit in here. I thought for sure that I could fit two things in here. One of them is I'm going to show you after this one, but it was no idea. I used Litmatica, tried to move everything out and about, but nothing could work. So I had to scrap that idea and put this inside of everything instead. How it works is that it's a very similar or simple stone generator, as you can see here, and then we just smash the moss. Water comes out at very precise times, and it's very loud, so I'm going to shut it off. But you can see here, and we get all of the items put inside of the middle here. Each and every one of them is getting processed in these composters, and then the bone meal gets bit back into the machine. After I have done it a little while, it's going to fill up, and when that has filled up everything, then it's going to start fill up these chests that are the storage. But I have yet to actually go and get that done. I haven't done this farm a lot, or make it go for a long time so it can start to fill up. So I just need to wait a little bit and maybe make it running when I'm over here doing maybe something else. Now we're just going to go back, because we're going to go back to base, where I have the last of our projects that I have done. And here we are at our second location of today's episode. It sort of connects a little bit to the last farm that we built. This one is not bone meal though, it's a moss farm. A very simple one, and once more not my own design. This time it's a guy named Pixlriffs. Once again, his video is going to be in the description, where he has made a moss farm. Very simple design, and I'm going to use my last ender pearl to actually get up here. So, what is happening here then? Well, it's a very similar design actually, how it works. We have a stone generator that's going to generate stone. It's going to push the blocks out here. We have the signs here to not get moved and push the blocks inside of here, and the moss gets crushed and everything. And then water comes out of these two dispensers and pushes everything inside of here, where it falls down and gets collected. Everything works very similar, I think, and I'm just going to show how it works. And as you can see, like I said, we get the stone generator, everything works, pushing out everything. We have a piston over here that if something grows on top of that moss blocks, it destroys those, and it's connected to the timings here. So everything works very, very fine. And it's not the fastest farm in the world, but it does its job, and I have made it go a little bit, so we got a little bit of moss inside of here. It also gets some of these visual glitches, as you can see here, but also that it gets a little bit of the moss that's falling out, and I think I just need to make the walls go one block further up, so that's that problem out of the way. I hope so, at least. For our next location after this one, we have seen it a little bit further back in the episode, but we have this building here. I have, since I started out in this cave in the beginning of the season, wanted to make some sort of entrance, and I went with Blackstone, and I think it was a little bit of a mishap in that it's a little bit mal placed, or not very good placed in here, because it doesn't sort of blend into the deep slate as well. It's a very big contrast, so I think I have to make something out of it so we can blend those things together a little bit more. But I really love the design in everything else. The block palette is something to be a little bit choosy about, but I really love the verdant frog lights. I also love the copper that we have going on here. And I also really like the design that I have used the same thing inside of here. We have the same blocks, so the same copper block that we can see on this face over here is the same on this face. So I have sort of reused everything, and it also have made this place look a bit lighter. Of course, it's very big because I still need to fly out and about, because sometimes I fly out of here to other places and everything, and also fly above. So yeah, we're going to make this look a little bit nicer in the future, but right now we have this entrance here. So that's what's been built, and I think maybe I show a time lapse of it before we actually go into our next location. And now time lapse is finished, and we are going to go to the last location of this episode. You have probably seen this spiral staircase that we have going on here, and I was really hoping for the farm to actually start working, because I have these lights that indicate if something has happened in the area where I want to monitor some things, but it has not yet happened. Nothing have lit up here. Maybe it's going to lit up or make progress when we go inside of here, but I hope we will see it. Otherwise I just have to explain what's happened. So we have gone this copper sort of tunnel that we have here. I really love it. It looks really nice. And we get to go into a familiar place, I think, for you guys, if you have watched episodes before. Because we are in the copper converter chamber, where we have all of our copper converters, but it has been changed a little bit. As you probably can see, we have a lot of more redstone going on. We have sort of the contraptions and everything, and like everything here and here, it has gotten an upgrade. Once more, I have to give credit to other people for this, because I have not done this myself. And if you remember from that episode, the guy that come up with this idea to begin with, it was a guy named Pixlriffs, the same one that has made a moss farm. And now I also decided that I wanted to make this a little bit more automatic. So I followed his guide on how he made this himself in his survival guide world, where you can watch and everything. So I'm going to link that video in the description as well, and you are just going to be here for a little bit of explanation from my side on how what it does and what's actually happening in here. So to begin with, we're going to take a little bit of an aerial view. So I'm going to use the free cam because it's much easier to actually show stuff and everything. So to begin with, you guys actually know what's happened. If we put in some copper and I put those inside of here, we have a flying machine that's right now not on this side, it's over on that side. And that flying machine is going to take the copper blocks, push them in here, and it's going to look like it does in this module, where the module has taken the copper blocks and placed it over inside of this one. And then we just wait for the copper convert, and when that happens, when every block has been converted, for example this one we are waiting for, and of course this one as well, when all of them has been converted, these redstone lines are going to shut off. And when that shuts off, it's going to send a signal up here. That signal turns on this redstone torch, and that sends the flying machine going back. And that of course gets and picks up all of the blocks and pushes them over here where we can collect them. And what are more of the upgrades then? Because this is one of them where I have an automatic system for this. But what happens, how do the system know that this is finished? Well, we have a counting system. So I think, yeah, I have to go out of camera mode and show you guys in real person. So what happens here, we can jump over to one of these modules, it's a bit easier to show. What happens is that inside of these two droppers, they are facing each other. We have stone shovels, only because it was the easiest material for me to get. You need 4 things inside of here that are non-stackable, because it's just easier to count that way. And in this system, like you can see here, we have one of these blocks. It has turned into the, what's it called? The weathered copper. So it's in the 3rd stage of copper. We have the regular stage, the one that it starts out as. We have this one that I think is the something else. I don't remember the stage name right now. We have the weathered copper, and then we have the oxidized one. So when that happens, we get a signal from this observer that observes that it has gotten an update on these blocks, and it sends a signal into this dropper that sends a shovel down into the bottom one here. When that happens, and when we then have all 4 shovels down there, we get a signal. That signal is compared here with this comparator, and when we have 4 shovels here, that signal is stronger than the signal that we have here with the output of our furnaces. For this to work, I have to put in 64 of one item and 31 of one other item, in this case a furnace. You can use other blocks that a comparator can read, but I found the furnaces to be the easiest, the most good looking, and also it was easiest to put in coal and just pumpkins in here. Of course you need something that can't burn, because you don't want the coal to actually disappear, or the pumpkin to actually disappear either. So that's why I use these blocks. So, and that's because I also had a lot of pumpkin. But back to this, when the signal is stronger from the dropper here, that sends a signal in here, and it pushes out the mechanism. It works the same as before, when it just detected everything and pushed out it. It's just the same. And of course this all is connected to these redstone torches, and when that happens, in case of this time, if we have 2 redstone torches turned off on both sides, it turns off this redstone signal, and of course it goes all the way, then it sends the flying machine back. So that's how that works. A lot of redstone, and I hope you understood that. Otherwise, once more recommend the original video from Pixlriffs. He explains it a lot more easier than that. And what is the last thing that I have to explain then? Well, it's these observer clocks that I have here, or piston on observer. Because once we have these droppers, all of the shovels are down below. Do we have to manually go around and place all of the shovels back into the the top dropper? No, of course not. Because if you push one button and the piston goes out there, it sends out a signal. I think it's around 4 times. I may be wrong on that spot, but it sends out enough signals that when we have the observers that watches this redstone signal that goes underneath all of the droppers, and we have a observer facing down, so it detects that something is updating in redstone line, then it sends out a signal, and that signal of course goes through a block and into the dropper, and for each one of those updates it sends a shovel upwards. So it's just a system for me to easily manage all of the shovels and make them go up, and then they go down when we use the machine. We can also make them go manually down, and that's why we have these warped wood buttons that we have here, where we can just push one of those, and if we push that one, then it sends a shovel down. Sometimes the copper can convert before it has reached the first point in the station, then we need to manually drop them down. And I was really hoping that one of these would actually convert so we could get them to work. But I have a very stubborn copper block here that hasn't even converted once. So it's going to be a very long waiting game. And that's because we have the copper farm. It's the only reason that we have this here, because I really want this to be as automatic as we can, because it's a real hassle to just wait for copper to convert. But we have one last thing to actually explain in this episode that's related to this thing. Because how does then the thing work with the lamps that I showed you in the beginning when we went inside of here? Well, we have a redstone signal once more. I have observers going, they are facing upwards, as you can see here. We have the face up and the redstone signal going down. And we have one for each of the flying machines. When one flying machine docks inside of here, that sends us a signal, and I have a very mishmash of redstone going around here. You can see here that it goes from there. We have all of these rows going here, and each and every one of these rows are not connected to each other, so I have to place them with a block in between so I don't collide any of them. Because what happens when we go backwards a little bit here is that we get that redstone signal to go inside of a very nifty little design that I have here, and I just choose the wrong blocks. What we have here is this is actually one of the things that I built myself, finally, for something that is not a tutorial based something. So what happens here then is that when this signal comes in here, we have the signal that turns off this redstone torch, and I have these last repeaters on a full delay, because otherwise it is a little bit too fast. So the redstone torch just blinks off and off, and this hopper that's locked right now can't drop any items. But if we close it off just enough time, the hopper sends down one item. And inside of here, we have this cobble deep slate I put in here. I have some other stuff. You don't need to use the deep slate. Just I put in one stack of any block I had on me at the time. And when that happens, when we send one block inside of here, when that turns off, we get this inside of this chest. We have comparators here that sends out a signal, of course, when they notice that something is in the chest, and that turns on the lamp, and then we can see it from the outside. I can show you if I go a bit further here. Then one of these lamps turn off, and I know then that one of the modules inside of the copy converter has been returned, and I can go there and either I can just turn everything off and go back and take everything down and turn on that module again, or I can wait until I have all 4 lamps lit and do everything at once. Then what happens more then? Well, we have one more signal. This button here is for me to shut off the lamps, because I don't want them to light every time. I need them to light when something is finished. So we have a very easy redstone signal going from that button in here, and it goes into these blocks. That turns off these, of course, these redstone torches down here. That turns off these droppers, and instead then it gets turned off just enough time for this chest to send it into the dropper and then into the chest or the barrel below, where we can collect everything and put them back inside of here. Right now I haven't done that because I put, like I said, in one stack, so it's not needed. And I was really hoping for this to actually convert and everything, so I could show everything in action and just explaining it. But you can't hurry this time up, or I could hurry it up with changing the game tick rule and everything, but I feel that's a little bit cheaty because you have to have a little bit patience in this game as well. So, with that explanation, I hope that you have enjoyed this episode. Please continue watching because I'm really looking forward to putting up more episodes now that I'm healthy again and can record a little bit more. We'll see how it goes because the Christmas season is going and holidays and everything, and I'm going to be a little bit on the holidays from my work and everything, so maybe a little bit down low on the videos. I hope not, though. We'll see each other in the next episode, hopefully. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Goodbye.